Have you read the book, The Inner Game of Tennis? I know a lot of you have. It was one of the books that a lot of tennis players recommended me when I was coaching. Some parts of the book I like. I like the general philosophy of it, but I do disagree with a lot of things that the book said. The book talks about the unconscious mind and the conscious mind, but today I'm going to try to explain a little bit further why just playing unconsciously is not the best idea. This book is very good, but the book I really like is this book, Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. I think the mind one, mind two thing is like within your own mind. There's like a mind one, mind two. A lot of it is like the conscious mind and the unconscious mind. People like say it in different ways, but I actually like what Daniel Kahneman said better. So if you want to check out his book, it's actually very good. It's not a tennis book. It's like it won the Nobel Prize Award in economics. But it's actually, if you could apply it to tennis, it's actually a very good book. And today I'm gonna try to explain why using the unconscious mind and the muscle memory is not always the best. Did I even spell that right? I don't know. I did. Okay. Now.
Wait, hold on. Sorry. I-O-U-S.
Oh, I spelled that one right. I thought something was wrong. Yeah. I haven't met Tim Galloway, so I don't know what his philosophies are now. And I don't say that's not how you should do it or he's wrong because I don't know when he wrote that book. You know, your philosophies change and you evolve as a coach. And if you've written books, actually, you're smart enough to know that's not always the answer and the answers could change as you have different thoughts and the game kind of changes. But I'm just only going to say about that book what it says. The conscious mind is training the unconscious. Let's say chopsticks, for example. When you're first learning how to use the chopsticks, you have to consciously think about how to use the chopsticks, right? So if you practice enough, you can unconsciously pick something up like this chalk. You could pick it up without even thinking about it. But when you're trying to first learn it, you're consciously using your mental capacity to order your fingers to grab something that you want to grab with the chopsticks. Now, once you use it enough, it's just, second nature. You don't even have to think about it. Something like chopsticks is very easy to think about, but the thing is, tennis strokes, it's the same thing. You're trying to train the unconscious mind by actually thinking about it. Okay, how do I do this? Okay, how do I take the racket back? Where's the racket facing? How far does it have to drop? How fast do I have to go? Like, you're thinking about so much. Not only that, you have to think about, okay, where's the ball going? Where is it gonna land? How high is it? How fast is it? Like, there's so many things that you have to not think about, but so many things you have to take care of and worry about. It's very difficult at first. The book talks about don't think too much, just let your body do it. It's go with the flow. And I just don't agree with that. I've used that before in my lessons and I actually tried it. I agree with some of it because when you get to a certain level, you want to let your body take control and believe in yourself. That's what believing in yourself is. You're just letting it do what you did in practice. You just go with the flow of it. But the thing is, if you want to get to the top, that's not always the case. Yes, when you're in the zone and you're not thinking too much and your unconscious mind takes over and you're doing things, perfectly, that's great. But I've had experiences in the last 30 years. I talked to different players. I had my own experience. You only have 2 weeks maximum, okay? Out of 365 days, okay? That's days, which is 52 weeks, okay? You only have 2 weeks out of the whole year where you're zoning, where like you're playing out of your mind and you just don't feel like you're gonna lose. That's the only time. But the thing is that 2 weeks is not a span of like consistency, like, day after another, where you're going 14 days straight playing like that. Sometimes it comes 1 week at a time, but a lot of times you're not in the zone for that long. So out of the 52 weeks, you're only playing your best for 2 weeks. So what happens with the 50 weeks then? How do you get to this state really fast? fast? That's also the question, because obviously you want to be at that state. The thing is, when you're training your unconscious mind with your conscious mind, you have to do things right. There are things that could be missed, or if you're misinformed by your coach or you're doing something wrong, yes, you could get good by doing things wrong, but make up for it with time. But the thing is, when you're becoming pro level and you're trying to break through all the time, that's not going to work. When you're trying to get better at a pace where, let's say someone who played 5 years and you only played 3, not only do you have to be more athletic, but you have to be getting better at a faster pace than the guy who played more. So if you're just letting your unconscious mind do things, like, you're not going to get better. What if you're This is the question. What if your unconscious mind and actions are wrong? Then what do? Then you can't let your unconscious mind take over, or your muscle memory. You have to break out of that. So that's why you make tweaks, you need coaching. If unconscious mind was the best thing in the world, you wouldn't need coaching, because a lot of times you don't know what's going on with your body when you're, doing your swing or doing whatever you are, making the movements on the tennis court. You need someone to take a look at you and say, hey, that's not the best way you can do things. You can do it differently, and there's a better way. Then you have to go back and say, okay, I have to relearn things and train the unconscious mind again by consciously telling yourself, okay, whatever felt comfortable is wrong. And that's why it's so hard and difficult to get better in tennis, because no one wants to admit that you're doing something wrong. This is another conversation for a different video, but that has an effect on your confidence. Because if you mess with your confidence, and that's the most important thing going into a match, believing yourself that you could win, they don't want to listen to you. That's why tennis players are so stubborn and they don't want to listen, is because they don't want to mess with their confidence, because their confidence level needs to be high, and that is actually one of the most important things, more than technique. Part of it is mentality. So it's very, very important to be confident. So that's why when your coach tells you, hey, you're doing something wrong, it kind of affects their state of mind and confidence. I'm not doing something wrong, perfectly fine, even if it's not. Great tennis players are actually good at that. But the legendary players, what they do is they're very good at switching that off. Maybe there is a better way. And the filter is very good too. Like, you have to filter things out and not listen to everybody. But the thing is, like, you have to think, oh, he does have a point. Okay, let's try to do something that he's suggesting. And when you're the coach, you have to be able to suggest things to the player and not be so afraid to say things, but you have to say it at the right time. That's why you have to get to know the player emotionally. You have to be a friend, you have to be a family, you have to be a coach, a mentor, so many different things, because the mind is very fragile. You have to know how to say it to your player, because every player is so different. You have to approach it very differently. So should I just let my unconscious mind take over? It's not the best way to get better. Yes, the repetition needs to be there and make it unconscious. But the thing is, once you want to get to a certain level and you want to break through, you have to, again, consciously say, hey, that's not right. Whatever that was comfortable, I'm not doing it right. That's the difficult part. So what am I trying to say here? What am I trying to say here? So I'm just saying, like, I disagree with some of the things that the book said, because it keeps on focusing on letting your players do what they want to do. But I just don't agree with that. There's certain points in time where you need to let the player do what they want to do, or you need to do what you want to do. But the thing is, you have to find someone that you trust and respect to give you pointers and say, hey, that could get better. I know it's a very closely held belief and it's the most important belief that you have, but that's what's holding you back. You need someone like that. That's why you need a coach and a mentor that's already been there and had that experience, and not be an arrogant coach saying, like, you're wrong. Just straight up tell you you're wrong, because you don't want to hurt the confidence. Coaching is a very difficult job of balancing act, and you do have to be careful not to touch the confidence level while you're trying to coach someone. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
You're not saying that the unconscious is not important.
Oh, it's very important.
You're just saying that the conscious is also There's importance there.
Yes, it plays a big part of it, and coaching is very important for the conscious mind. But when the player is doing well, you don't want, here's another thing. You know, the player has, you know, the player has ups and downs. A lot of coaches say a lot of stuff when they're at the peak. They do very well, like coaching them, and say a lot of stuff. And once they hit that peak and starts to go down, what a lot of coaches do is they start saying something here. And you know what that does? Not only the player does not want to listen because he's here versus here, right? He got better, so he's not going to listen. His confidence level is very high. Maybe you as a coach, you're very sensitive and you have a good eye of pointing things out that's wrong. Exactly when they start doing things a little bit wrong, you say something here. What that does is it just, you know, it makes it even faster. The way to break the player's confidence and make them go down even further is to say something here. What you should actually do is when you sense someone is going down, don't say anything. Don't say anything. He's gonna know, and then he's gonna start losing matches. Before he hits the bottom, you wanna say something like here. Like here. When he realizes it himself, dude, there's something wrong with my game. If you try to say it too early, yes, you're trying to catch it. You're trying to catch a falling knife before it falls. But if you say it too early, you're gonna break his confidence or her confidence. So you wanna really say when his confidence is slightly down and he has no ego and he just lost the match or like he's kind of struggling, then you say something. But you do need to notice it here. It's just that you don't want to say it too early and kill the confidence of a player yourself. Very important.
Quick question.
Yeah.
You mentioned this in other videos too, but like there's like a right and a wrong for tennis.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, like, is there like a perfect forehand, or is there perfect footwork or perfect backhand?
I believe that there is a perfect way. I think every coach should have that also. A dream player, the best forehand, backhand, serve, one-handed backhand, two-handed backhand. You should visually, in your mind, have that.
So that's not subjective to each coach?
Well, I think every coach has a different philosophy. So I can't say there's the best philosophy because everybody's a little different. But what I want to say about that is it basically changes with different players. But the number one factor to the most efficient and the best way to move is our joints only move in a certain way.